Bad world.
Yep. Bad world. Shabadoo. Welcome to Happy Suffer.
Episode 1 of Special Podcast.
Yeah, episode 1 of Special
welcome
Podcast.
to-
We'll get you
We're-
500,000 organic listeners in a week.
We're,
That's our Christian name.
we're rebranding.
We're rebranding to
We found Christ.
every like scam. We're just gonna only talk about scam DMs
Yep.
from now
Hell
on.
yeah.
Here. Oh, listen, I get a lot of them.
Yeah, all we get is fucking like clearly like Nigerian scam accounts or like whatever. And I'm just like, cool. I'm sure a lot of podcasts follow this.
So I get a bunch from somebody whose name is Heidi. Unfortunately,
Klum?
not Heidi Klum, which we'll get to in a second. But it's always somebody named Heidi, and every time I like block and delete or whatever, they send me another one, and Heidi is spelled differently, and it's always OMG. Hey, my friend was lurking on your profile. No idea how she found it out of nowhere. She's crushing on you.
Oh yeah.
Here's another one.
Fuck.
Yo, my friend, I do say yo, so she's low-key obsessed. Listen, not that I'm not interested, but I need you to...
We get so many of like just the OnlyFans bot accounts in our DMs like daily.
Yeah.
Like essentially the like pussy and bio ones for Instagram.
Oh,
Like, they all go straight to like the spam
It
folder
in-
or whatever.
yeah.
So just
Mine
like
too.
every couple days, I just fucking like go in and just delete all of them in like a mass delete. Well, good intro
I'm like,
for this episode.
Yeah.
All right, this is episode 323 of I Be Suffer. I'm Crunch.
What's his name? Boink?
Mm-hmm.
Boink.
Come on, President Munch.
Definitely.
Dottie Dunko.
Yeah.
I do like Dottie.
This week we're talking about perfect 5-star banger from this year, Frankie Freako.
Yeah.
Finally, I've been dying for both of you to watch this movie since I saw it a couple weeks ago. Yeah, we'll get right into it. Obviously
we got a
Oh, wait.
special soda talk. Katie's going to drink some fart cola.
Oh,
I want a can of fart cola so fucking bad. I was so close when I met Kostansky just be like, hey, you got any more of those? Anyone?
you
Can I get fart cola?
Well, Katie, you want to talk about Heidi Klum first?
Oh, yeah, I know you guys are all dying, absolutely dying, riveting to know what Heidi Klum was for Halloween this year.
So good.
And was it last year that her and like 10 other people together were a peacock, which is fantastic. This year she was E.T., but like...
So haunting.
But E.T. when E.T. is dressed up in the disguise with like the wig and whatever, and the thing is that when you see the E.T. costume, it's obviously extremely high budget. It looks like a recreation. It looks like a wax E.T. that you would see in like a museum or whatever. And so you're looking at it and you're like, okay, where's Heidi Klum? Oh, because you have to zoom in on her neck, on the ET neck, and you can see Heidi Klum's face.
I
A
like
la
that
the same
the worm.
effect
They all
as
look
the
just like the
rainworm.
worm.
It's like, you know, whenever you like pull a sheet over your face, you just see like the barest outline of a
Yes.
face underneath. It's like that, but
It
you
is
know, with skin
terrifying.
and much more haunting.
My favorite
Yes.
thing is the one video I saw of someone like interviewing her is they just had the microphone up to like ET's mouth.
Yeah.
Because like it moved
They
or
don't
whatever.
even know. Yeah, they're like, I don't know. Here.
And then just a clip of her
Get me
like
out of here.
walking around with all of it off, and she just still had the makeup on. And I was like, this is upsetting.
Yeah, I love it. Amazing. No notes. Can't wait to see what next year brings. I don't think anything will top the Rainworm for me. This comes pretty close because the face is like, it's like, because if somehow you don't know what E.T. looks like, he's pretty wrinkly, and his neck is just like ribbed. It's pretty disgusting, I will say.
I can't imagine how much money she spends to just pay some
I
special
know.
effects company to make this shit.
I appreciate that she's such a fucking weirdo.
Look,
Yeah, me too,
At
honestly.
the same time, I saw a kid, like an 8-year-old kid, that made a Ghost Rider costume that looked cool as fuck. So
Well,
I'm gonna shout out that 8-year-old that I don't know your name, and I just saw an Instagram video of it. But you had flames on your tires
I love
of
it.
your bike, and it ruled.
cute.
All right,
Love it.
Frankie
Yeah.
Freako. What'd y'all think?
Banger. 5 out of 5.
Katie?
Pretty freaky, sis. I watched it today for the first time because I just like didn't have time, and I wanted to watch it more than once because I feel like I definitely need to. It's really interesting to me now that we've had that conversation with him about like his love of Puppet Master and whatnot, because now that I like watched this one, obviously I was like, okay, yeah, I can see this. I have no notes for Connor, who, as always, is just absolutely killing it.
Him and Adam are crushing it.
Like always, and I think that like normally my note in any of the movies is like needs more Connor. Obviously he's like the main character in this, and those two together I think just magic. I could like literally, I don't know, it's great. I love anytime they showed us like a commercial or whatever, like I would just watch an entire full-length movie of like them making commercials.
So
honestly.
I'm waiting for like my Blu-ray to ship, because
Yeah.
there's apparently all of the footage they shot for collectible connoisseurs or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
And then like the commercials, and
I love
like as
that.
like
That
the
is
bonus
amazing.
features.
Yes.
I would really want to. Oh, so cursing is just allowed on TV now? It's cool. It's cool to curse on TV now.
Amazing.
The thing that like I think is so funny is like I did take notes that were just like very broad overviews of the whole movie, so we can just like touch on it and then talk about what we liked or whatever, versus a full breakdown, because like of course, just like when we did like Psycho Goreman, we would rather people just go watch it, but
so
we can
like,
touch on it.
It's available
But,
to rent now, and like spoilers, because we're gonna
Spoilers now,
spoiler
starting
shit.
now. The plot of the movie, to me specifically, is hilarious because it is about this man whose name is still Connor, which was great. The blurb says workaholic yuppie Connor is in an existential rut until one night he catches a bizarre ad for a party hotline hosted by a strange dancing goblin, Frankie Freako. So like the whole thing
I
is
don't
that
remember ever
Connor.
seeing him dance.
Uh,
At least in the commercial.
Oh, no. In the commercial, it very much is like a sex hotline looking situation.
Yeah.
So
It's like
and it's
the
like,
the whole setup where it's like he's going to call and he's like kind of nervous about it, and it seems like he's just about to have phone sex with a weird little goblin
with a
creature.
freaky goblin.
God,
Yeah.
I wish that's how this
So-
turned out.
So like the whole thing is about this like man who is just extremely plain and square. He's prude. He doesn't like cussing. He doesn't
Says
like
heck.
heckin'.
Boneheads.
Anytime he says what the H, I like lost my mind. It's so
And he
funny.
says, "Oh
Because-
shoot" or something at some point.
Yeah. His like delivery of everything is great. It's got this like extreme 80s aesthetic. So that just makes it even funnier to me because
Yeah,
you can imagine this man.
I think
right?
it's supposed to be like, I guess it would have to probably be like late 80s, because like I know in like the Q&A he talked very specifically, and there's like a joke in the movie about it, like when these like phone lines are really popular and how absurd like a Freddy Krueger one was that it existed.
That killed me. Yeah.
You couldn't sleep for weeks.
He was so mean to me. He was just so mean to me. Yeah, so that's essentially like the plot of it, and it's like him interacting with everybody else in his life who like, well, I was gonna say I don't know, his relationship with his boss, who is Adam Brooks, is extremely strange.
I
but
love
like
that he's
amazing
Beekler for
his
fucking Carl Beekler. John, wait, why do I want to say John?
Yeah.
Is it John?
I think it's John Carl Beekler.
Yeah, for some reason that didn't sound right as I was about to say it.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, so
King of the weird little guy.
Yeah, ghoulies go to
yeah,
college.
so it's just like, well, yeah, so it's like that, yeah, very much I can see Ghoulies, very much I can see Puppet Master. Obviously, the party part of it also is like, well, Ghoulies, but also giving like Gremlins 2
Yeah.
a little bit. But so yeah, it's just like this man like interacting with other people in his life. He's like married to this woman who like obviously loves him, but is wanting him to like
Be less of a loser.
How worried were you when the sex scene, the quote unquote sex scene was about to start?
I was gonna say, you know, that I feel like this opening sex scene was like literally written for me because it's like the very first thing that happens, and I was like, all right, I'm in for this, like it's fine. And then okay, so
Real quick before we actually get into that, I want to talk about just the surprise ending. How I died laughing when it's just all of a sudden it's like a Christmas movie for like no reason.
No, I did write in the beginning, it is a Christmas movie because you see decorations in the office
but like
immediately.
Still, like that's like I never in a
the
million
Christmas
years
card
was like
thing.
was like you get to the end and I was just like I it caught me so off guard when it's just like you guys want to stay for Christmas and they're like all right.
It's art.
Perfect. It's so good.
Unrelated to the Christmas bit, Dottie went to gun college with me is
amazing,
the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Did you guys stay all the way through the credits by any chance?
Yes.
When you get to the end and there's the jingle for the gun college?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
I was like, perfect. What a just that like I love a director that just crams as many fucking jokes into their movie as possible, even to like the last second.
Well, and the like song that plays like immediately when the movie ends is like that Christmas song, but it's like the Freakos, like
the fucking
freaks.
Frankie Freako singing
and
over like Merry Gentleman or whatever it is.
Yeah, and I was like, I hope that they release this on Spotify because I need it on my playlist.
Well, so I don't know because my Blu-ray comes with a CD of the soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if it'll like end up on like Spotify or something, but
it fucking better be on that CD.
It will. I guaranteed that whole soundtrack will bare minimum end up on YouTube.
All right, so Santa Jaws,
she's a party.
Frankie Freako,
she's
tier Christmas movies.
Every time she looks like a party came on, I was like, this is the best song of all time. That and just like the little like keyboard synth dance song that plays throughout the movie.
You know I was eating that up.
It's so good. It's so perfect. And they play both of them so many times and I never got tired of it. I've watched this movie 6 times now. And every time I was like, bangers. All bangers.
I love
all
it
music.
because
Blitz Berlin killing it again.
It is kind of like that like sensual like hotline music, but like they somehow use it like throughout the movie when they're playing it, they kind of turn it into almost like a sentimental moment, which is really insane because it's like that's anything that's happening. I don't know. The other thing that really gets me too is that like, so we talked about like Connor is the main character. There is also Adam Brooks who plays his boss, and then the wife who is Christy Woodsworth.
Yeah, she played I think she was like the voice of the angel in Psycho Gorman.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So, but then for the most part, it's just like Connor interacting with puppets, which I think sometimes like is doesn't work out. I just like don't know how. There's like this scene where they're like in the mining cart or whatever, and Frank, I can't, his name is Frankie Freako. I can
Yeah.
call him either one. Is like, oh, I need to tell you something. He's just like, and Connor just like looks at him, and he's like, it's okay, you can tell me anything. I'm like, how are you getting so sentimental with like a puppet? Is really insane to me.
He said Connor had like thought like such a hard time.
I believe
Anytime
it.
it was just acting with the puppets.
Yeah, I believe it. I couldn't. I don't even know how you do it, but
He talked about, I can't remember if he talked about this in the Q&A or when like we were just like chatting afterwards, that like you know, he's been saying for years that he wanted to make a movie where like Connor was like the main star of it.
mhm,
Because usually Connor's just like a side character or is only in it for like a minute or whatever.
right.
And very much a big motivation of it is that he wanted to essentially like Sam Raimi Bruce Campbell Connor by just beating the shit out of him the entire movie. So like all of that shit hitting him is like hitting him for real. And like all that stuff.
I'm gonna tell you my absolute favorite part of the movie that made me laugh so hard is like when that scene where like essentially he gets like shot and there's like all that shit happening and then one of them like flings Connor headfirst into the
The
TV.
TV.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard. Like the way that it looked, it just like really got me. It was unexpected
I think
and
the slingshot when he gets hit in the crotch with the boot.
the,
The
I
giant
was like, why,
fucking slingshot like in
why
the
do
room.
they have so many boots?
It's so
Okay.
stupid.
So this basically the movie starts with Connor being at work. He's just they try and make it as like boring as possible, whatever his job is, right? And it starts off first of all with him, which this joke made me laugh also for no reason. But basically he's like arguing with someone on the phone, and then he like hangs up on him, and when the boss comes and is like talking to him, he's just like some wild, basically he refers to the person on the phone as like a wild man because he was trying to suggest that they should order dark roast coffee for the office instead of medium roast, which
That joke, and then the one later when he's talking to his wife and he's like, you don't even understand, I'm gonna have a wild weekend, like I'm gonna get a crazy dinner, and she's like, pizza? He's like, yeah, but you don't know what's gonna be on it. She's like, half cheese and the other half also cheese or what, or other cheese or whatever.
yeah, I love it. So there's like this like weird exchange, and essentially like you learn that he is trying to go for a promotion. His boss, again Adam Brooks with his ponytail,
Yeah,
is like so
he said
fucking weird.
every movie Adam Brooks is like, can you please just make me look cool in this movie? And so
No.
he was like, yep,
No.
rat tail. Or like
The
ponytail
worst.
or whatever.
A skinny long ponytail and like a turtleneck.
I know we talked about it, Psycho Gorman, but he's so fucking funny in this movie. And like
Yeah.
he's barely in it, and he's like every scene I'm fucking dying. Like I think my favorite line in the entire movie is, and you said, so there's three of them, right? One's a little party dude, one guy that works on like machines, and then a cute little cowgirl or whatever. And he's like, I never said she was cute. He's like, sounds like a little cutie to me.
Sounds like a little cutie, yeah. So yeah, they have an exchange or whatever, and he is essentially like, hey, like I need you to come in on Saturday. Maybe we find this out later, but essentially he's like,
Yeah,
I need
I
you
think
to come.
it's after he does the presentation.
Oh, that's right. All right. Okay. Wait. Okay. So they just have like a weird like thing or whatever. This is when like immediately, like I said, you do find out it is a Christmas movie because there's like decorations up, and somebody says something about like, I know it's the holidays, but something, whatever, who cares? He goes home where like the entire time that he's driving home, his wife is like sensually putting on like lingerie and whatnot. And so he comes in, he's like, "Oh, I've had the worst day."
Yeah,
And
his boss tells him that like he read the presentation he's gonna give, and that it's
Oh, yeah,
like
it
kind of
sucks,
boring.
yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
like, boring. Some of these parts are like, some of these like things
Yeah,
in here
some
are
of
so
the ones
spicy.
are in
I wouldn't
red.
even do these on like, wouldn't even present these to my wife.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like
I
I
forgot about
used
the
red
presentation.
font.
Really crazy. And then the
It's a
boss,
wild man.
he's kind of just like, okay, yeah, no problem. And then he like throws him a note that says like, spice up the presentation or you're not getting the promotion or something. And the idea that he couldn't just say that to his face is pretty funny. But yeah, so he's like bummed about that, right? He goes home, he's like, I've had the worst day, and his wife is like, oh, well, I know, like, I can help you out with that or whatever. And she's like wearing lingerie or whatever. And so like essentially they make it seem like it's leading up to a sex scene. I was like, oh, it's starting out with a sex scene. Okay, well we can do this, it's fine. But what ends up happening is that they just lay on the bed next to each other and hold hands, not even two hands. They like clasp one hand each, and that's enough for him. He's like, wow, that was great. And she's obviously frustrated at this because he's just like, oh, that was great, whatever. And so they're kind of just talking. Of course, he's basically like talking about how like, oh, you know, you think I'm square or whatever. She's like, no, like, I think you're really handsome, like a movie star. He goes, really? What movie star? And she says, Gary Busey.
I like that she says it though, but she says it in like a loving way, like it's not an insult. And he's like, oh,
he is.
Everyone's attracted to Gary Busey,
right? And
but also, I see it. Sorry, Connor.
Yeah.
Listen,
sorry, Connor.
I wasn't gonna say it.
I
however,
mean, there's no way that's not like
an in joke.
An in joke.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And she basically is just like saying that she's just like frustrated because she wants to do more than hand holding. And he goes, what else is there? Love it. Perfect.
So funny.
So this is when like she falls asleep, he's watching TV. This is when the ad for Frankie Freako's Fun Time phone comes on, where the tagline is fasten your freak belts.
Hell yeah.
Perfect.
How is that not the tagline for this movie? Like,
actually,
I get it's time to get Freako is you know, I get it, but also fasten your freak belts.
Fasten your freak belts. Yeah. Really, a real miss there, I have to say.
My freak belt is always fastened.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Your studded belt from Hot Topic circa 2009.
Yep. I had multiple.
I still have one.
Right. So the ad is essentially, like we said, kind of like a sex hotline.
It's portrayed so sensually. It's so funny.
It's like the close-up of like Frankie Freako's mouth, like talking into the phone,
and like his finger like wrapping around.
wrapping the cord.
Even like the lady like talking is like all like it's all very like sensual. It's just like it's like the soft lighting, everything in it is perfect. It's so well done. But also and, like he's done those like commercials and like the VHS movies and shit. So like he knows what he's doing.
He's no stranger to phone sex hotline commercials.
To a sexy hotline commercial, yeah. And like if you somehow have not seen anything like the cover or anything for Frankie Freako, let me just like reiterate, he is a
fasten your freak belt.
He is a tiny red goblin looking guy. So like
a little party guy.
Him being like the center of this commercial is something.
I just picture this being real and being. I would just be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah,
I'd be so confused. Not like I should call that.
Like at least, like you know, the idea of Freddy Krueger's. I'm like, well, this looks like a person at least.
Well, yeah, right.
But yes. I would almost bet they were probably like an Alf line or some shit.
Oh, I'm sure. There's probably all kinds of freaky stuff. I have like the IMDb page up, and they're just like cycling through all the movies, and there's a trailer. They're showing the trailer for Manborg, and I'm like, I just now really need to watch Manborg again.
Yeah, you do.
Oh yeah, I need to watch every Kostansky now.
Yeah. Okay. So who knew? I don't know. Okay, we've come. What is crazy? What a crazy world. Okay, so. Okay, so we see the presentation, and basically the way that he thinks that he's spicing it up is that he and one other person are wearing a cone party hat. And so he's like giving the presentation,
like,
and
see
it's
that
like
square? You like that square?
Because it's good, yeah.
It's a good square.
he starts like hallucinating where he is seeing people's faces like morph into Frankie, and he just starts screaming.
Was it before this that his wife was leaving and he was talking to her?
No, it's after this.
Okay. Yeah.
This
so
is the first like hallucination or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
So he starts screaming and sweating or whatever, but then like after after the presentation, his boss is just like, "That was great." Like seriously, it worked. It worked out. Yeah, I loved it. Loved the sweating, the way you were sweating and screaming like that. Really great. You get the promotion, essentially.
I forget if it's this one or the beginning when they're like at his little cubicle when he just is like knocking everything over.
It's this one. He like goes to put his hand on the desk, but like it's just paperwork and just knocks it all onto the ground and falls.
So yeah, so he's basically just like, yeah, you're gonna get the promotion.
Like, part of that is I need you. We got this pesky sales report coming up this week, and then corporates looking into my crazy
creative accounting.
Creative accounting, that's right. He's like, so I need someone to come in this weekend and be on that camera shredding these documents. And,
yeah.
So
well, but Connor's just like, oh, okay, yeah,
great.
The most obvious thing. He's just like, all right, yeah, I'll do it.
Essentially, yeah. So he's like, yeah, cool, I'll do it. And he's like, great, okay, see you then. So he goes home. This is when his wife is leaving. His wife is an artist, and she is going on
are incredible.
They are actually so cool. There's like this one that's like two faces, like whatever. They're very cool.
They all kind of look like one of the fucking monsters in the little tribunal from Psycho Goreman. Like, one of them had like the weird little spiky head.
Yeah. So she's going to go and she's like setting up an art show essentially, and this is like the scene we were talking about earlier where he's like, I'm wild, I'm ordering a cheese pizza. And this is also, we talked about this. He like thinks that he sees the reflection of Frankie in like the window. The way that he like double knocks on her window made me laugh also. He's like,
do you know anything about this Frankie Freako guy that's been advertising on TV?
I love that he just asks his wife that, like, makes her roll her window down again and be like, hey, do you know about Frankie Freako?
And
the weird phone sex hotline?
Yeah, she's basically just like, I don't know what you're talking about, whatever. This is when she says, like, don't go calling those numbers. Remember what happened when you called that Freddy Krueger hotline?
He's so mean to me.
He's just so mean to me. I couldn't think of any comebacks. Very funny. So she leaves. He has a night in. He orders from Legitimate Pizza. Would love to eat that pizza.
I like when he's dusting and he's like, oh, Philadelphia soundtrack got really dusty.
Yeah. So he's basically just like cleaning their house, which again looks extremely 80s. I loved the bathroom in this house. It was so cool.
Yeah, I was really curious if like they found a house that just looked like this, or if this was like a specific like made thing.
Yeah, I couldn't tell, and I couldn't tell because they do show us like shots of the outside of the house, and I couldn't tell if it was like an actual house or a set. Whatever, but I loved it regardless. And so he's like watching his equivalent of Antiques Roadshow or whatever. I love this version of the show though, because every time somebody brings something,
it's all worthless.
The guy's like, this isn't worth anything. Like, this is worthless. This is worth $0. And the people are all just like, oh shit. So he's watching this or whatever. He looks at his watch and he says something which I find near and dear to me.
I knew it.
8:30 p.m. no less. That is late, even for a Friday. Listen, I'm like, did you?
Look, fair.
Was this me?
I fell asleep at like 7 p.m. last night, so
like, I felt very seen right now. I just was like, I feel you actually. And pizza 8:30, that's too late. So so essentially he ends up calling the Freaky Freako hotline. There's lightning. There's a storm happening. They're gonna get freaky. Okay?
It's time to get Freako.
I love the like edit of this scene where it's like, all right, here we come, and then it's just Connor waking up.
Yeah,
waking up, but like
the first couple shots you see, like it doesn't like he seems kind of disheveled, but it's like that, like sort of waking up disheveled. Like it doesn't really seem like anything happened.
So the thing that stood out to me is that like his character is just this like very straight, like laced, like paper plate guy we know, but he wakes up on top of the covers, like splayed out, wearing just like boxers and like a shirt or whatever. So to me, for him, that is like a party, quote unquote party animal type thing versus like, you know, his like button up sweater and his like acid wash jeans
he
or
feels
whatever.
like somebody that wouldn't want to get the sheets dirty, so he would just sleep on top of the comforter.
So he wakes up, he basically is like just going like about his morning, getting ready or whatever.
When he comes and steps on the fucking fart cola can and it zooms in on with caffeine and he's like fucking outraged and like
he like gasps with caffeine. So he basically goes downstairs. There's like a can. There's like so many cans like of this fart classic. It says, and he's like so many pops. He's like picking up the trash, and then he looks, and the entire living room is just like really, really destroyed. And he says something like, "This room sucks now," which I liked.
Every once in a while, there's like dialogue that he says that seems so out of character that it's so funny. Like it's that's like one of like the first ones that I was like, perfect.
Love it.
His stuntman that eats shit down the stairs is a hero. That's the funniest fucking pratfall.
I love just like when I did the first rewatch, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna pay attention to like the graffiti in the background.
Yeah.
And all of it is so fucking funny. Like one of it is just with an exclamation point.
Of course.
Like there's obviously the one
That's
that just says butt that they like turn into butter later to like fix
perfect.
it. Yeah. But there's one that just says vegetables with like the Ghostbusters no sign up through it.
Yeah.
That is so fucking funny to me. It's like my favorite thing in the movie.
There's also one in the kitchen that says Scott, like the name Scott. I was like, okay. And then I think this might be a little bit later, but on the fridge, the magnets spell out poo, which I found very funny.
They had to have had so much fun just like putting the most stupid shit on those walls and just like background stuff like that, like you can't really see unless you're actively paying attention.
Right. Yeah, so like we're saying, the room is trash. There's spray paint all over everything, including the huge thing here is that like we said,
VHS tape like nailed to the wall in like the background of one of them.
Crazy. There's toilet paper everywhere. There's like a really big thing here where, like I said, his wife is an artist, so she has these like sculptures.
Oh, hello. What happened?
Sorry. I just got an email that I placed an order on Amazon, which I did not, and it freaked me out.
Yeah, that's a scam.
Okay, I'm fine.
You should give them your social security number.
Okay, I will.
From Frankie Freako.
Yeah, let me type it in really quick. It was actually a Kindle thing, which I did buy something on Kindle, but it was like 8 hours ago, so that's great. Anyway, his wife is an artist. She's got these sculptures, and the sculptures are like spray painted over, so of course he's freaking out about that or whatever. He finally sees Frankie Freako and the boys, which is Frankie, Dottie, and Boink.
Boink seems so cool.
He's got like a bowl cut, but like half his face is.
It's like he's a man board puppet essentially.
Like yes, essentially. And then as we already said Dottie is a cowgirl, and Frankie is just like the Fonz. He's just like the coolest guy. Yeah.
He's party king.
And
his shirt says so.
That's also true. So he basically starts talking to them, and he is like, essentially just like, get out of my house. Like, you can't be here. Get out in like the nerdiest way possible. And they're essentially just like, what are you talking about? Like, we partied, whatever. They're showing these Polaroids of Connor and the puppet like partying, and there's this one where he's being like choked out and fed a hot dog that I thought was so funny. And it's just like them having a good time, and he's like, no, like, you need to get out of my house, like, we can't be doing this or whatever.
I'm just still thinking about this room sucks now.
Let's see. Okay, so they're saying that they're not gonna leave, they need to party longer or whatever, and Connor's just like, okay, you asked for it. And he goes upstairs and makes this really big show of like unboxing this thing, and he comes back downstairs with it, and it ends up being a crucifix. And he
so
like
large.
he like holds it up with this like triumphant look, like he's gonna like banish them with this cross or whatever. But what ends up happening is that like Frankie, I guess, is actually a demon. I don't know. He like transforms.
I think it's that he's so offended that he turns into like a weird monster and shoots fire at him somehow.
Yeah, he shoots fire out of his mouth. I think I also forgot to mention at some point, this whole scene is just like Connor getting beat up. He immediately gets shot in the neck by Dottie. And then they start like we said, using a giant sling shot to like sling boots at his crotch and whatnot.
So they almost knock over one of the sculptures and he catches it, and after he catches it, they like fucking 2 boots hit him right in the groin. But like then they like break one of the other sculptures, I think, and like he immediately snaps and like picks up Boink, and he's like, "You apologize to Christina right now."
Starts like beating him in the face,
punching him, and he punches him in the face a couple times, and Boink's like, "Shabba, don't," then like dies, and so like the Frankie and Dottie run over. They're like, "Boink, no!" And Frankie's like, "I love you, Boink," and like rests his head on him, but he doesn't. But like his glasses are resting on his face instead. Like it's like what like Kostansky talked about, like one of his favorite things to do in the movie was to do the like sort of static shots of the puppets not reacting or like not moving, because like the scene at the end when like Christina's like confessing, you know, quote unquote confessing everything, it just cuts to Frankie and he's just not moving.
Sure.
And he's like, those were my favorite shots of the movie, because he was like, at any of those like weird little guy puppet movies, they would like constantly be shots like that.
Yeah, right.
But so like they put this like the white sheet over Boink, and like Dottie's crying, and then like Connor starts doing the most insane like crying.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm so sorry."
He's like, "I didn't know," but he's like, and so like he's crying, and then all of a sudden that just cuts to like a shot of like the end of the sheet, and a fart comes out of it.
Yeah. You know it.
And that's when they just start like fucking with him again.
So that happens, whatever. The crucifix thing happens after that, I think, and then this is when
I think that's when he
Connor
gets thrown into the TV.
Yeah, Connor gets flung into the TV head first, and it is the funniest thing in the movie, in my opinion.
I think one of the fucking best choices throughout the entire movie is that at no point does he ever clean himself up. He just has this continuous like, it's again a very much like the Evil Dead scenario where like Bruce Campbell's constantly like got cuts and shit on his face throughout the movies as he keeps getting them. But they do the same thing here, where it's like his neck just has like a bullet wound in it the whole time.
That horrible bloody bandage the entire film.
Yeah,
getting shot within the first like 3 minutes.
Like essentially, he gets shot really early, and I love that. Like at first he's holding it, and then he just like stops holding it, and it's fine. It's
there was
fine.
So much blood whenever he first gets shot.
There's just like one of those
Jesus Christ, they killed him already.
There's like one of those slightly bigger bandages on it for like the rest of the movie.
Yeah, so he gets thrown into the TV, obviously, and blacks out because his head went into a TV. This is when he like wakes up. I know. His boss calls and is basically just like, "Hey, I'm at work. Where are you?" And Connor's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Something came up and I need to like deal with some stuff here." And he's like, "Oh no, is everything okay?" And Connor was like,
I don't know.
I don't know." And he's like, "Sorry to hear that. I guess I'll just have to call Sandy. She's always been there for me. Maybe Sandy could be the new manager."
Now that I'm thinking about it, she seems like manager material.
And Connor's like, I'll be there in 8 minutes. And essentially he just goes upstairs and puts a Band-Aid over the neck, like doesn't clean the blood up at all. Just like literally puts a huge Band-Aid on his neck and drives to the office.
Everything previous to this is crazy. But I love that almost everything that happens after this feels like the most Kostansky stuff, because like I feel like almost everything else that happens is like every scenario where you're like, all right, this is probably what's going to happen. It's just like a hard left to like the most absurd scenario.
Yeah.
And like I kind of love that like how everything just like doesn't necessarily turn, but like it just like all of a sudden like the absurdity just amps up after this. Like all of the interactions in this next scene with Connor and Adam Brooks are insane. And I have to assume, like, I know one of the things that happens is completely improvised on set, but like literally when we left, I was talking to Caitlin about it, where I was just like, I have to assume like half of this shit is in the movie was like improvised between the two of them.
That was my assumption, honestly, because it's
the thing I know specifically he said is the thing where he like he puts the shard of the sculpture in his hand and it closes it was completely improvised on set.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me one bit, actually, to hear that. So he goes, slaps a Band-Aid on his neck and goes into work. He shows up there, he runs in, and
I forgot about Adam Brooks just crouched down, being like, all right, now put the paper in the shredder. So he's like out of sight of the camera.
He's like hiding behind like a little Christmas or decoration plant thing, like a holly bush or whatever, like peeking over or whatever. So Connor starts like looks at the stuff or whatever, starts shredding it, and then the phone starts ringing, and basically it's just like Frankie calling to like harass him, and like all of the he's basically just like harassing him. All of the phones are ringing, whatever. Connor starts crying again, of course, and so his boss comes over and is just like, what's going on? And he's like, this is hell. And he's like, you mean the bad place? Like he can't
fathom it. Can't say
like
it.
Hell is like such a bad thing and like a bad word. He can't say it or whatever. And he basically is just like, whatever. So the boss decides that he's going to go back to the house and like help him.
Back and forth is so fucking bizarre.
It's
like I love it so much.
Every interaction that they have together is like the weirdest thing, which is why I assumed it had to have been just like ad-libbed.
I mean, like,
and I don't know.
It feels very like Manborg has the same thing going on.
Sure.
Where like there's so many just strange interactions between the characters, and it's like I just feel like it's just shit.
The way it goes.
Finds funny.
Yes,
and like
sure.
it works so well. Like these two, just like we said earlier, like interacting together is just like magic.
Yes, I love it. So he's like, okay. So he's like, there's like this weirdly intimate moment where the boss is basically just like, don't worry, like I am here for you.
He's like, you didn't have to come all the way to my house. He's like, I can handle this. He's like, if one of my employees is having troubles, that like I'm having troubles or like whatever.
Yeah, like it's my problem, no matter how personal or something like that.
Now you said there's 3 of them. One of them's a little party guy.
So this is that scene we were talking about earlier where he says that her being a tiny cowgirl sounds like she's a little
sounds
cutie.
Like a little cutie to me.
And so they go in, and there's basically like what I would describe as like obviously the boss doesn't believe him at first, and he thinks that that Connor's just like going crazy or whatever. This is the weird scene you were just talking about where he like pushes his hand into a piece of the sculpture and like makes it bleed, and then nobody reacts to it.
Mr. Beekler, stop! That hurts.
And he's just like, all right, so. Essentially what unfolds here is a very convoluted Home Alone situation
where the best ending possible.
The freaks have set up like so many fucking like tripwires. Well, so they've stolen the guns.
There's a line earlier in the movie when Christina's going to leave that Connor's like, everything will be fine. I checked the gun safe. And she's
Twice.
like, well, I checked it 3 times, so I know
There,
it's all safe.
there's also like this run-on joke where like every time you see a picture of them or just her, she has a gun.
the,
So there's like a
Yeah.
portrait of them in
the
the living room with a
The
shotgun.
the portrait's perfect.
the picture that he pulls out of his wallet at the
The
end of the
wallet,
movie,
yeah.
Yes.
that looks like it just came from like a 70s like
It looks like a
revenge
James
thriller.
Bond,
It's so
like,
good.
yeah. It's just like a silhouette of her holding it like a
What
handgun,
what a
essentially.
fucking like weird thing to make your like characters like.
Yeah.
Is this just like she went to gun college?
My other thing that I thought was really funny. So, when they basically go down to the basement, Connor checks the gun safe and it's empty,
They have the
and
they have the chalk
we know it's a
outlines around
gun
them though.
safe, right? Like as if it reminded me of Hank Hill in King of the Hill, where he has like that, but for his like tools.
Right.
So like you know where everything goes. It's like that, but it's like 2 guns or whatever. And he's like, they've got the guns.
My favorite thing. So I was watching this today, and I like it just was like a thing that dawned on me is like I won't spoil it yet. Well, when we get to like the end, but like all when you get to once you know the ending and you think back about it, you're like they were going to blow Connor's head off. How is any of this helpful towards like what happens at the end?
It's not. None of it has like any consequence to each other,
Like
essentially.
there's so many fucking like strings attached to like the triggers of guns in this scene that I'm like, you like literally there's a sawed off shotgun that like is pointed at like where his head would be.
Yeah, I think essentially it's just because like he was like trying to hurt them, so they're just like retaliating or whatever. So it just like it doesn't matter. Yeah. So there's like this whole like Home Alone situation, but there's like 1,000 strings that Connor has to like step over to not trigger the guns. At one point, he steps on an entire
Board of nails.
wood of nails, obviously. And he eventually ends up like getting out of that, getting the gun or whatever. And he accidentally like he's like trying to shoot.
Before that is when Adam Brooks' character comes across Dottie, who is like comes creeping out around the corner and is like, "Hey there, handsome, how about you come over here and give me a smooch?" And he's just like, he does the like look around and then points at himself, and then like flips his ponytail. Which is so funny to me, but then he goes to take a couple steps and steps into a bear trap and like immediately
Amazing.
starts like screaming, and like Connors comes over like getting ready to like rush to help him, and that's when like I think they do the strings and the guns or whatever, and so he finally gets the gun and I forget why. I don't know if he shoots at somebody or if it's like an accidental.
Yeah, he's shooting at them, but he misses.
Yeah, and he misses, and the bullet ricochets all over the place and hits a barrel, and all of this white goo starts coming out of it and like pouring all over Adam Brooks. And it just pans up and it just says glue, and they have this fucking massive industrial sized barrel of glue that just empties out all over him and glues him to the floor.
It's fine.
And he says,
normal.
Like,
I always knew this would happen.
Yeah.
His reactions to shit are so fucking funny. It's like, you know what? I'm starting to think this might be the bad place. Connor's just like, hell yeah.
And so all of the freakos scamper out or whatever, and Connor's like, okay, like I need to go get you help. And he's like, no, don't worry about it, I'm fine. He's like, no, like I really feel like I need to go get you help.
So unbothered.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
it's fine. I'm great. I always knew this would happen. I've been preparing for it
the
mentally.
rest of the movie, he's just glued to the floor.
Literally
the
glued
to the
most
floor.
glue you've ever seen in
The
your
glue,
life.
once the glue dries, it looks so disgusting. It is like,
It's so funny.
I don't need to tell you what I think.
Well, that's what, like I literally when I was watching it today, I was like, I wonder if Katie's like first thought was like, oh no.
Yeah, I didn't like it. Gross. So yeah, essentially, he's like, I'm gonna go get help. He's like, oh, just like do what you need to do or whatever. And Frankie is essentially just like, Oh, so basically, like, he's still trying to get them or whatever. He gets a call from his wife where and I will say, like, she is calling him the entire time to, like, check on him and whatever. And she's like, um, how is everything there? Are you listening to music? And he's just like, yeah, I'm having a little dance
What was
party
that
or
sound? It
whatever,
sounded like a sculpture collapsing into your hands.
crumbling in
Yeah.
your hands or whatever. He's like, no, gotta go bye. And he, like, hangs up on her or whatever. And they essentially, like, oh my God, okay, so he goes upstairs and they're pretending to be sleeping, and so he, like, goes to the bed and has, like, a gun. He has an actual gun, and he's, like, really struggling with being able to, like, shoot them or not, but they have rigged a noose
This scene is insane.
that comes down from the ceiling and gets him. And I also want to point out, like, not only is he being strangled, he has a neck wound, and I can't imagine
Yeah,
that
that's fine.
feels
Yeah,
good.
not helping.
The rope is, like, rubbing all in the wound and whatever. And so as he is hanging and getting choked out, Frankie turns on a little video that is essentially like the freak lore, if you will.
This turn is so funny where, like, all of a sudden they're just like, no, this is why we have to party.
Yeah.
We just have to party for another night because
They're
Go
all
ahead.
made to work the phone hotlines, okay? From
Yeah,
from the new Freako president.
essentially they had to escape Freak World because President Munch has taken over and is ruling with an iron fist, basically, and is forcing all of the Freakos on their planet to run these phone lines. And,
Incredible.
like,
Yes.
the entire time they're watching this video, like, Connor is just slowly dying.
Yeah, it's fucking fading.
Also-
Fading so hard.
Fart sleep mask. Best thing in this movie.
So
Need
yeah,
one.
so
Same.
that happens, and
I love, though, that, like, so the video ends, and he's just like, yeah, so, we're gonna party for one more day, and then we'll be out of your hair. And Connor's just
And it
limp,
cuts to
hanging
him and
there.
he's like dead.
And then
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah,
hey,
he's
buddy,
passed
wake
out.
up.
So Connor, like, wakes up in, like, a panic because, like, he's just almost died, essentially.
They did
Yeah.
use a defibrillator on him, and he's just
Pro-
like,
That's right. Yeah.
Probably brain damage from lack of
Exact-
oxygen.
No, he's fine.
they're just
And
like,
Frankie just goes,
Yeah.
anyway, so
Yeah.
like, do you want to stop messing around and, like, help us, or, like, what? And he's just
he
like,
literally,
all
they're
right.
like, you gonna stop messing around and party with us, or we gonna have more problems? And he's like, you know what? I think I'm gonna party with you guys. It just is like a complete 180.
Yeah, so he decides that he's just gonna freak with them, right?
Yeah, fuck it.
They also share a tender moment where they shred the documents in front of the boss, and it's heartfelt. Teamwork, something about teamwork or something.
I love that their partying is like they're playing Go Fish, and one of them just like throws a whole
Go
fucking
fish.
fish
There's
on
a
there.
fish.
Yeah, Connor's delivery of like, nope, go fish. It's like so funny to me.
So smug.
He is so wild. He is wild and out. So, essentially what ends up happening is that President Munch, as we said, is evil. Ends up they tell us in the video that they essentially have been able to figure out how to use the phone lines to teleport between, like, Freak World and the real world or whatever, and the phone's been left off the hook, so President Munch finds where they are and sends the Freako killers to basically get all of the freaks back to Freak World or whatever, and also capture Connor as a concubine.
Before that do they do the thing where he's like, oh, we gotta, like, fix this place up a little bit? Because don't they do that before Munch
That's
shows
when they
up?
come back.
I thought they did part of it before that too, but maybe I'm.
They did do part of it because it's one of my favorite lines.
Is it
in
the
movie.
hammer?
He's watching me and he goes, using a hammer. I
So
never
they're like,
would have thought
we
of
gotta
that.
fix some of her sculptures. And they're like, all right, we got you, buddy. And they just have
Yeah.
hammers that are bashing it. And he's like, hammers? I never would have thought of that. I was getting at, because that joke is so funny. Oh,
So they
Yeah.
get taken. I really wasn't expecting them to go to Freak World, so that was kind of like like obviously I didn't know that Freak World existed until like moments before. That was just something that I wasn't expecting.
We're going.
Connor's fucking Total Recall face going to Freak World is so funny.
Yeah. So, and we get a little bit more of like stop motion is situation when they're like going, they're riding essentially a minecart into Freak World or whatever, and
yeah, essentially you see Freak World's just like, it's very reminiscent to be of like Manborg when you see like the city they're in, where like everything is just like run down, and it's like all of these like homeless puppets standing around like barrels of fire and shit, and then like there's just like a huge skyscraper for President Munch that he lives in.
Slow down, please.
Yeah.
I loved that guy. And so like there's again, I don't want to go through like everything in the scenes because I want people to watch it, but essentially they meet Munch. Connor is wearing
the fucking the like viral TikTok leggings he has on is such a perfect touch.
It is really crazy. It's like the scrunch butt leggings, they kind of, or mermaid leggings or whatever they call them, but they're like, purple.
The like purple like not sash, but there's like the two like X thing that he's wearing on his top.
Yeah.
That essentially looks like he's wearing two sashes because he's.
Yeah.
I forgot that right before like they're like he'll make a perfect concubine for President Munch, and he's like, wait, what? What did he say? Concubine? What that be?
That? Yeah, what that is.
Oh yeah, what that is.
And President Munch has taken a liking to Connor, thinks he's very pretty, and there's like
President Munch, voiced by one of the Red Letter Media dudes, Kit.
Yep. So was the guy that says "slow down, please."
Oh, was it? Yeah.
And the guy in the boardroom that they cut to that just looks like so bored the whole time.
Oh, was that
one of them also?
Nice.
Yep.
Love it. So
President Munch looks incredible.
Yes.
He looks crazy.
So gross. I love his stumpy little legs. Like he's got almost normal human-sized arms, and he's got stumpy little legs.
I just love that it's like a whole other planet, but he's just dressed like a 1920s mobster.
Like a gangster guy, yeah. And he has this like assistant named Crunch who looks incredibly distressed. And they're basically like, they do this like the whole thing where it's like, oh, I've got you guys now, whatever. So they bring out this thing called the Dial of Doom, which essentially that Crunch made, that essentially you put your hand on it and it gauges how much there's like bureaucratic talk about it sort of. But it gauges how freaky you are, and then it like does something to you in response to that. So
I also want to point out real quick the joke that when Crunch first walks up and doesn't say anything with the phone, and Connor's like, "What? What do you want me to do? Say something." Ugh, useless. Never mind. I'll just pick up this phone.
Which is what he's supposed to do. There's a joke that made me laugh really hard too. That what happens in this scene where they first walk up to the president, and he's like, bow or whatever, and he goes sure, and he just like gets down on his knees.
Okay. I forget, like there's also the point like when the like Bunch is just like talking about how hot Connor is, and like the like I think Frankie says something that slaps Connor on the butt, and he's like, hey, no, crossing the line.
Yeah. Okay, so they do Dial of Doom. Oh, so Munch is like, go ahead, Crunch, do it. And he's like, me? And he's like, yeah, go ahead. And he's like,
Crunch.
all right. And Crunch does it and ends up getting like essentially just melted his face.
He essentially looks like Bio Zombie from fucking Psycho Goreman.
Sure.
So gooey.
I need someone to look like that in every Kostansky movie.
I agree. Yeah. I was thinking about the guy from Psycho Goreman whose like eyes were continuously like rolling his head or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you remember what I'm saying? Yeah. Something like that. But yeah, Biocop, good. So he like gets melted or whatever, and the president like obviously did not know what this Dial of Doom did because he was just like,
long weekend Crunch.
He's like, oh, so that's what happens. That's nuts. Yeah, you can leave early or whatever. And so they're essentially like wanting and it's also revealed that they have Dottie basically being brainwashed separately from them or whatever. And they want the other guys to like use the dial of doom, and they're like, "Oh no, Connor, you go ahead, you do it." He's like, "No, I don't want to. I'm scared." But as we know, Connor has no freak, so he does the machine and he's fine. He's excited about
I think
it.
this is when you see the picture of Christina because he pulls it out of his wallet and he's like apologizing to it, and it's her in like the silhouette holding the gun.
Amazing. I also love that that's like the picture that he keeps in his wallet of her, because you can't really like see her or whatever.
It's so stupid, and it's such a like. It's one of those things where like it's such a funny joke that like it's such a throwaway joke that like I could see half the people like not catching.
Right. Yeah. So I don't want to kind of just like spoil everything that happens with them escaping or whatever. So let's just say they escape. And this is the slow down, please. But President Munch is like pissed off, obviously, and he ends up like transforming. Looks real cool. He's like busting out of his own skin at this point.
Kit, can you
chainsaw?
I was gonna say, can you guess what the inspiration for full freak mode President Munch is?
He looks a lot like Alex Winter in Freaked. That was the first thing I thought of.
So, Kostansky said he very specifically wanted to do the beginning of Texas Chainsaw 2 when he's got the corpse in front of him, and it's just like the weird like dancing fucking thing on the top of the car.
Oh my god.
Incredible.
No.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay, well, I hate that.
Then we get Connor pretending like just being flirty with him to like distract him.
Amazing. They basically get back to the house and they're like, "Oh my god, yay, woohoo!" They're happy that they escaped or whatever. They're able to save Dottie, and this is when so they think like everything's fine, but Munch is able to, like we said, come through the phone line. So he shows up. He's like this huge meaty guy he does have a chainsaw actually, and they basically. Connor decides that he's gonna seduce him, and I don't know. The whole scene is just really funny.
It's all to like lead him down into the basement where they had like the guns like on strings and shit still up.
Yeah. So
he goes walking by fucking Adam Brooks, who's just still laying there.
Yeah.
He's like, hey.
Glued to the floor.
And the Munch ends up getting like his head shot off, like the top of his like forehead shot off, but like seems to be okay about it. And the thing that they end up having to do is make Frankie demon out, so to speak.
Boink, like in the process of him walking through, like he's
like knocking down rebar.
Munch like uses the chainsaw and like cuts one of the shelves, and like two pieces fall off, and Boink puts up like a cross with it. And even Munch is like, oh no.
Yeah. So he transforms. He does his. I thought his like demon form was pretty cool.
I know. I love it.
He does his fire breath and essentially just like incinerates Munch. And we see the full thing where like the skin melts off and he's like skeleton, like weird goopy skeleton thing. And everything's fine. This is when we get a call from Christina where she's like, "Oh, hey, everything went a little faster than I thought. I'll be home within the hour." And they're like, "Oh, man." So this is like the bulk of what I wrote to be terrible cleaning montage.
Oh, it's so funny.
Because they're like using pieces of like colorful duct tape to like tape the drywall back up.
The turning the spray paint of butt into butter is so fucking funny to me. That, and then one of them like does like a kid's painting of Connor and Christina to just put up.
Amazing.
Over it.
Yeah, I love that painting. So essentially they quote unquote fix the house. It literally looks like a piece of shit
still. And I think this is like the point when Connor tries one of the fart colas and he's like,
yeah,
it's pretty good. I see why you guys drink this.
Yeah. he's like, it's as if nothing ever happened, and then it like shows the room,
It's-
and it's just it's
It's
crazy.
Goddamn
it's
mess.
perfect. It's like we've talked about it on here all like any of the other ones where I'm like his touchstones and like sense of humor is like so perfect for like the same things for me. So like that joke of like the classic sitcom, like, oh, we got an hour to clean
Clean up
this house up,
montage.
and then like,
Yeah.
and like, you know, in the sitcom they would get it all fine except for maybe like one thing would be fucked up and the parents would notice. No, this house is still completely fucking wrecked. All they did is cover up like broken shit with other broken shit.
This scene where Connor is like dusting stuff up in a dustpan, and he dusts up like, I don't know, like a whole VCR or something, and then like throws it or whatever, was so funny. So yeah, and essentially like he's like, oh, it looks like it never happened. Christina comes home and is like, what in the fuck happened here? But it's fine because like the twist reveal is that
I just like they also like sitcom thing. They do the freeze frame when Connor's just like when she comes home and is looking at him, and I forget what like the joke is he says, but they do the freeze frame and music starts playing, and she just continues to stare at him. He just falls to his knees and starts apologizing.
and she's just like, well, we kind of already talked about this, where she essentially reveals that it's fine.
She went
She
to
knows
gun college
them.
with Dottie, who
Yeah.
introduced her to Frankie.
That's where she met
And,
Freako.
like, this is like the entire time. This is the scene that he talked about very specifically. Where like almost every time it cuts to Frankie just sitting in the chair, he never moves. He just has his sunglasses on and is just sitting there like static.
I love, yeah, okay.
I don't think the first time when I watched it in the theater, I don't think I noticed, and then at now it's like all I could see every time I've seen it since he talked about it.
Yeah. One of the things I always find really funny too is because like especially with those like older movies too, with the puppetry, you don't see like the full puppet, but there's that scene earlier way earlier where Connor was beating up
Boink.
Boink, and he just like tosses
Yeah.
him, and it was like quite literally somebody throwing the whole puppet, which to me always visually is like such a funny gag. But yeah, I didn't.
It's cool because he's been like, whatever he's been doing, like touring to like do screenings of the movie. He's had
With the puppets,
he has the full Frankie and then a full one of the like robot munch patrol dudes.
The
Freako
Freako killers.
Yeah.
And they're so funny too because they're wearing like 40s
I
gangster
know.
like
Yeah,
pinstripes.
pinstripes.
Like, yeah.
It rocks.
So yeah, we find out everything is fine. Christina's not mad because she went to gun college with Dottie, as we said. She knew Frankie, and she essentially wanted them to come and help, like, Connor kind of unwind a little bit, and also she was feeling
Like
uninspired in
with
her art. And so them breaking her sculptures and then gluing them back together in a weird way.
She's like, they look
is
great.
just what she needed. She loves it. There's like spray paint on it. She's like, great. Everything is great. And this is when Connor essentially too is just like, okay, great. Like, do you guys want to stay for Christmas? Oh, first though, I need to show my wife something in the bedroom or whatever. And so
I'm gonna hold
they make
both
it,
of your hands.
Yeah, they make it seem like he's finally, like they're gonna actually finally have sex or whatever. And then he says, tonight I'm gonna hold both of your hands. And she's like,
Yeah, she's like, well, I have a better idea.
I have something different in mind or whatever. And then we see the Christmas card of them all together. And the credits, like we said, is like Christmas song with the Freakos over top of it. And then there's like illustrations that I assume Adam did.
Probably,
that are like,
because I know Adam also is the voice of Boink. And Matthew Kennedy is Frankie Freako.
Frankie,
and
yeah.
I want to see the footage. God, I hope there's footage. I want to see him singing this Christmas song.
Yeah, we need it.
I was actually honestly shocked. Like it's such a different voice than what I'm used to, like Matthew Kennedy sounding like.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, so pretty good. So that's it.
Perfect movie.
Perfect timing for it to come out.
Fuck Art the Clown. This is the Christmas movie of the year.
Yeah. Agreed.
I agree. Is that a Christmas movie?
Yeah, the new Terrifier is a Christmas movie, unfortunately.
Boo. No thanks.
It's okay. Christmas is back.
Yeah, Christmas is back, actually.
Frankie and his crew saved Christmas once again.
That's, I mean, honestly.
Now that's like a 30-minute short that they should make.
100%.
Like, Frankie Freako saves Christmas.
That's what this is.
Yeah. That'll be the...
I guess technically Connor saves Christmas, but...
The sequel should be like the Freakos helping Santa Claus get his groove back or whatever.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, everyone go rent this. It's a fucking banger. And I would say, like, even the stuff we talked about, there's like 100 more jokes.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like non-stop. And it's like, if you liked Psycho Goreman, this movie is like 100% up your alley. Like, I saw so many people that, like, in like Letterboxd reviews or whatever, that watched it and didn't really, they were like, this is so good, and didn't realize till afterwards that it was Psycho Goreman, like, you know, Steven Kostanski or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I love Psycho Goreman. I didn't even realize it until I like finished it, started looking up stuff about the movie. So it's so good. I'm so hyped for his Deathstalker coming out hopefully soon, or at least next year, I assume. Banger. Alright, everyone go rent it. It's on Fandango at Home, which used to be Vudu, which is a better title than Fandango at Home.
Yeah, that really confused me, honestly, but it's fine.
Yeah. Alright, I did not look at any news, because I don't want to know any news for the next week.
No,
Sure.
No more news. News is over.
The only thing I saw was that Jordan Peele is rebooting that show Scare Tactics.
Oh, it's been going for a while, and it's pretty
Has
good.
it? Okay.
It comes out every Friday, and I watch.
That I had no idea. I literally saw something that was like advertising it was going to happen. I was like, oh, how did I not know about this? I love Scare Tactics. I think it's so funny. However,
they recaptured the vibe of the original one pretty good, I think.
Okay. I don't ever want Scare Tactics to happen to me, but I love to watch it. I love to watch it.
Like, the only thing I've seen at all recently, like a sort of horror news wise, that I was like stoked about. I know I at least sent it to Kid. I don't remember if it was in the group text, but Ridley Scott's working on a new Alien movie.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Can't wait.
Give me that shit. I'm at least hoping they're gonna let him finish out whatever the like Prometheus storyline is. Like, at least let that fucking finish out, and do whatever other dumb bullshit you're doing now. Bring them to Earth, whatever the fuck the TV show's gonna be. All right, Katie, what'd you watch this week, or 2 weeks, or whatever it's been?
Let me see. You know, it is now after Halloween officially, so I watched like all my Halloween stuff per usual. I watched this show that was called Scariest House in America, which is, the only reason I'm bringing it up is because it's hosted by Retta.
Oh, yeah, because she does,
Ugliest
that's interesting.
House
I have to
in America.
watch that. I didn't realize that was, Ugliest House in America is super fun.
Yeah, so it's basically, they just did a couple episodes where they pick the scariest house in like a region, and then that person, same with the regular show, that person gets like a remodel by whoever that person is. She is just so funny, and especially to see her in the situations where like so they basically just like I think it's only like 4 episodes, easy to watch, it's so funny. They show these houses. There's like the very first episode, she goes into this house that's like from the 1700s or whatever the fuck. There's like a well in the kitchen, like a well into the earth in the kitchen, which is deeply troubling to me. And it's just like so funny to like see her react to being scared, essentially. So I watched that. I was like, I didn't watch this Scream movie. It was me liking Kit's review of Scream, which was send this piece of shit to space or let it die. Yeah. I don't know if I talked about this when the cutoff was, but I was like watching that stream like that free channel or whatever. So they played The Stepfather from
Oh
2009,
hell yeah.
like a remake.
Oh, never mind.
2009.
Yeah, I just heard Stepfather.
No, 2009. It was. Woof.
I'm gonna say bad.
I need to watch like whatever. Then I watched a Hulu original movie called Carved. Really bad dog shit.
I feel like I saw like a handful of people watch that this year.
Yeah, which is so sad to me because like essentially the plot is that the pumpkins, because there's like a nuclear waste dump or something, the pumpkins become sentient and kill people who were a part of like a pumpkin carving contest or something, which is like dumb. It's sad because they had a practical effects pumpkin monster that was so cool, but the rest of the movie is just so bad. The like the actors and characters or whatever are really shitty. The dialogue sucked. Like it just was really bad, and I was sad about it. Then I watched the 2005 The Fog remake.
Wolf.
Ugh.
What
Awful.
even the fuck is going on
It's
there?
got Superman in
I
it, though.
I want to know. Yeah. No, it's really bad. Gross. Then I watched the original Prom Night movie. It was kind of
It's
boring.
fine.
Nobody.
It's just one of those like just too many slasher movie period thing happening.
The thing, so it's from 1980, and the thing about it to me was that like when I don't know. Obviously, there's different levels of slashers, but nobody dies until like an hour into the movie, and it's like not even. It's like barely on screen, so I was just like, "Oh, this is so boring."
It's one of the few ones where the sequel I think is a better movie.
Okay, I'll have to watch
It's like
it then.
Prom Night 2, Hello Mary Lou, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever. I mean, Leslie Nielsen and Jamie Lee Curtis were in it, so I was like, sure, obviously I'll watch it.
Nielsen,
But
isn't that?
yeah.
Amazing.
All that to say, it was just kind of like slow and boring, but it's fine. I will watch the second one. And then I watched another Hulu original called Mr. Crockett. It was okay.
That's like what I've seen people talking about that I kind of want to watch, but I'm like, I don't know. I'll get to it eventually.
I liked the idea behind it a lot because it does kind of, again, we were just talking about this when I was talking about I Saw the TV Glow, where it has a lot of that really nostalgic like kids show, 80s show, like VHS tape kind of thing. And again, really cool like physical props. So it's like obvious that they're putting money into some of these things. I just like desperately need them to pay better writers, I think is the problem. So this one was fine for me. Like I said, I think it's worth a watch, but I'm not saying run out immediately and watch it. You know what I mean? Oh, and then I started my rewatch of Parks and Rec finally for the first time in years. So
Oh yeah.
that might be it.
All right.
Yeah.
What about you, Kit?
Scream 6? Did I talk about Scream 6?
Yeah.
Well, I did. I talked about you watching Scream
We talked
6.
about it last time too. That like, because we talked about how like pointless it was to even have it in like New York City outside of like the
Yeah.
stuff.
You're right.
Yeah, no, that was it.
All right.
Nothing. What a piece of shit.
Yeah, bad.
Yeah, I'm just gonna talk about what a piece of shit Scream 6 is again. What a stupid movie. What a stupid franchise.
Let's see.
I say that. I love the first one and the second
Oh,
and the
I
third.
remember because we were both like, yeah, I stand by the first three. I like the fourth one also.
Yeah,
obviously.
same.
But yeah.
What a precipitous decline after that.
Good thing
Jesus
it ended.
Christ.
Good thing that Scream ended after Scream 4. What a perfect franchise. We can all move on.
Delightful quadrilogy.
Oh, you're not excited for fucking like somehow everybody that's still alive in those movies to be in the next one, just to like try to erase that they fucking lost the cast.
I can't wait to see how they undo everything that Gale Weathers fucking lived through again.
I constantly see everybody like being like, bring Matthew Lillard back. And like, he's fucking dead. Why?
Yeah,
Like,
we don't
Yeah.
need to do that. It's fine.
He's gonna join fucking
fucking
Billy Loomis as a fucking
Force
ghost.
As a ghost.
I got a lot, so I'll do like half, and I'll save half for the next episode. I watched Vinegar Syndrome's little like 3-movie box set of like I think it's called Cruel Britannia, and it's fine. It's just a bunch of like British thrillers that I don't really care about, but they're fine. It was Craze, Penny Gold, and Crucible of Terror. But then I watched Visual Vengeance release of Despiser, which fucking rocks.
I gotta watch that.
It's one of those movies where like I more than the actual movie, I respect the like ambition of the movie they were trying to make, because it's like it's like a movie the guy made for like $500,000 or some shit, and he like the entire plot of it is like a bunch of people that are stuck in like purgatory trying to get out, and so like 90% of the movie is like green screen backgrounds and shit, and like they all look insane. Like it looks like Mortal Kombat 2, like levels of like CGI and shit. But like the ambition, like I think he said there was like something like 800 like effects shots in the movie, and it's like it's just, I don't know, it's crazy. It's totally worth it. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of insane. I then watched 2023's Divinity. Have you seen this movie, Kit?
I have not.
So Vinegar Syndrome put it out, and it's like a what's the guy's name? Soderbergh, I think.
No, yeah,
Steven Soderbergh like produced it, and like maybe less Katie, but I think you specifically would be into it. It gave me like really heavy like Annihilation vibes.
No, I'm sold.
And the entire thing is like shot in like 16 millimeter like reversal black and white film or some shit. Like
what the fuck?
And like it's fucking gorgeous to look at, but it's like one of those like insane sci-fi plots that I was like, I don't know what the fuck's happening in this movie. But I liked it. It's pretty good. I need to give it a rewatch at some point. I then watched Dog Tags from 1987, which was fine. It's like a fucking Italian Vietnam war movie, but it's like real fucking bleak.
It's no dog soldiers.
Well, that's for some reason what I thought it was when I got it and put it on my shelf and like hadn't got to yet. And so I saw it, I pulled it out, and I was like, oh, this is something different. All right, well, it's Italian. I'm in. But it's like, it's not bad. It's just it's like heavy. Yeah. Like it's not like fun Italian like Vietnam War shit. It's like it's really dark.
Normal Vietnam War shit.
Yeah, right. I rewatched Escape from New York. Watched like The Shout Factory.
Hell yeah.
Blu-ray. That movie's incredible.
Oh, I should watch They Live for election night tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. I watched Frankie Freako like 5 times. I watched 1995's A Baby Ghost, which I want to do an episode on at some point because it's fucking super weird. It's just about a baby ghost haunting a bunch of people in a fucking office building.
Oh, so, what is the baby ghost doing in an office building?
I don't know. Like every scene,
it's like Boss Baby. Boss Baby died.
Like
they killed him.
There's like no furniture in like any room. It's just like bare rooms. So it's like clearly somebody just had like an abandoned office building they just like shot a movie in. But it's from the director of Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Oh, sick.
So like his entire filmography looks incredible. So I'm like actively, I think
Hell Comes to Frogtown. A masterpiece.
Yeah. He also directed Roller Gator, which rocks based on that title.
Yeah.
Pocket Ninjas.
Yeah, of course.
The Rollerblade 7.
Yeah.
Like,
this man loves rolling.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got like 5 or 6 fucking rollerblade movies.
I love that.
And so Caitlin's birthday is on Halloween, and I got them a 4 movie
Oh, yeah.
thing of Lifetime unauthorized movies. So it was the unauthorized Beverly Hills 90210 story, A Melrose Place, Saved by the Bell, and then Full House ones. And they are all dog shit in the best way. They're all incredible. No one looks like who they're supposed to be portraying. Like, that's, I don't know, it rocks. We watched all of them, and like, I think maybe one day, maybe we split into 2 days, but they're insane. We watched Will and Harper, that like Will Ferrell, Harper Steele documentary on Netflix, where like they just take the road trip to.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fucking good.
I
And
still
like,
gotta watch it.
it's like, you know, it's really kind of like joyous, but there's also like dark moments, because like the entire thing is like Harper Steele transitioned during the pandemic, but she
Right.
was somebody that like used to just would literally just like get in her car and just like drive fucking across country, and like had no qualms about like stopping at like just little shitty bars in like Texas or whatever, and like hanging out with locals, and it's like not a thing she can really do anymore.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like there's like a lot of heavy stuff, but like it's so wild to me that of all of those sort of like the really famous like SNL comedians, that like Will Ferrell seems to be like, he's like the last one. Not that I ever thought he was like a shitty person, but
Yeah.
like he's
It's nice to
I
see that
wasn't
he's
sure.
not
I wasn't
shitty.
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, because essentially like Adam Sandler, like we all like
Yeah.
everyone just knows he's like a conservative dickhead, but like people still
Right.
kind of like his movies. But like he's so fucking sweet with her in it, and it's just so good to watch. And I guess like Netflix didn't want to put it out yet, and he pushed hard for them to get it out a couple weeks before the election.
Good.
Like he seems like such a fucking good dude, and it's like you know, it's like really funny because like part of the entire thing is like she was like, you know, we'll do this road trip. I want you to like feel free to ask me any question that pops into your head, anything about like my transition, like whatever. One of them is like he can't help himself, and he's like, so do you feel like you became a worse driver now that you're a woman? And shit like that, and she's like crying, laughing at it and stuff. It's so funny, but it's so good. I honestly, fuck Netflix, but I recommend everyone checking it out. And the last one I'll talk about of this episode is going to tie into my shout out. The Cure played a 3-hour live stream show
Oh, sick.
at that you can watch at like their YouTube channel. And it's like the first set is the entire new album. The second set is like all fucking like banger, like, you know, like sort of like the like non-hit sort of like, but like famous Cure songs.
Yeah.
And then they do an encore that's like 5 songs from 17 Seconds for like the 45th anniversary of that. And then the last encore is like the, you know, Just Like Heaven, fucking Friday I'm in Love, Boys Don't Cry shit. It's
Yeah.
so fucking good. All right, Katie, what's your shout out? You got 2, so you better fucking figure it out.
Oh, no. Well, I did go to. Oh, I know. I do have 2 shout outs. Since we last recorded, I did go see that Cursive show live, and it was literally so incredible, amazing.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know how. It's just really crazy, amazing. So my shout out. I don't think I shouted out the newest album yet.
The
Did
Balance
I?
and Composure you did?
No,
Okay, didn't you?
Cursive.
Oh no, I don't think so.
Okay, yeah. So well, anyways, that's my shout out.
That's so good.
It's called Devourer, and it's really good, really great. I will admit I have been a fan for a long time. Some of the albums in between, like the last couple of years, were like not really for me, but this was really
I was gonna
good.
say, unsurprisingly, Katie doesn't care about like the post 2003 albums too much.
Mind your own business. So yeah, new album is still really good. They played a few songs from that live, and it still also sounded really good. He was amazing, stage presence wise.
Right.
Really great performer still. Sounds incredible. Also, was making sure everybody voted for the right things. That's all I'm gonna say. So that was really great. So that's my shout out.
All right, what about you, Kit?
Reverse shout out. The MAGA squirrel. Fuck him. I'm glad he's
Yeah.
dead.
Fuck it. Same. I didn't know what it
Oh
was
my
until
God.
like an hour before we started recording. I'm mad
I
that I
didn't
know
either.
what it is.
Well, you made me know what it was, so
Yeah,
that's on you.
because if I have to know, you have to know.
Ow. I will say the more and more things I hear, usually it's from you. That's like a Twitter thing now. I am like more and more glad every day that I am not on Twitter anymore.
Yes.
Like I am technically, like I still have it. I never check it though.
One day I'd love to be free of the brain rot, but
Yeah.
I
Look,
have to
hey,
outlast Elon on the platform.
he's
Sure.
Fuck him. I was there first.
He's
That's fair.
made a really fucking terrible argument in his lawsuit in like Pennsylvania. So fingers crossed.
It's so good. It wasn't a lottery. It was fraud.
Yeah. Did you have a real shout out, or you just do the reverse?
No, I'm
one?
sticking with fuck the
Okay,
squirrel because I got to come up with a real one for another
Clearly,
episode.
clearly, my shout out is "Songs of a Lost World" by The Cure. Just
God, it's so fucking good.
I like woke up at like 2 a.m. like the when it dropped on Spotify or whatever, and laid in bed for like 6 hours just listening to it on repeat. It's so like End Song is like one of the best things I think they've ever done. Like
So, war song is the one that's been
yeah.
sticking with me.
I'm somebody that like I don't think they have a single bad album in there. Like I know a lot of people don't really like that self-titled or like 413 Dream or even like Wild Mood Swings or whatever. But like I love all of them, and I like this is like the best thing they've done since Wish. It's so fucking good. And it's crazy that it's like 45, almost honestly almost coming up on like 50 years of them as a band, and like they're still just doing
putting out shit like that.
bangers. All right, next week, Killer Tomato Strike Back.
Yeah.
Tomato.
Doing more weird little guy shit for until we get tired of it, or
Yeah.
whatever
We won't.
bullshit fucking Patreon people make us watch for once a
Yeah.
month.
Until we complete our switch over, our rebranding to special podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Special
right.
podcast host the podcast. Yeah, you can watch Killer Tomato Strike Back on YouTube for free. All right. You can support us by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/hypersurfpodcast. Ratings and reviews, all that shit. You know, the places, wherever. You can follow us on Instagram at I Hope You Suffer Podcast. You can follow Kid at Hidden Kitstery and Kitchen of Blood. You can follow Katie at Werewolf Face and join Katie's Patreon at patreon.com/werewolfface. You can listen to my other podcast named K Movie Club. All right, we're going to go record another episode.
Yeah.
We got to record 2 episodes before this dumbass election, so
Yeah.
I'm
going on vacation and hopefully getting Final Destination in the air, so I don't have to deal with it.
So when next week's episode comes out and we don't sound extremely defeated, maybe.
Yeah.
That's why.
It's a peek behind the curtain. Yeah. It's all a charade.
All
right.
we know is Freako right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody feel better about yourself and go watch Freako.
We should record this next episode and act like we know what happened in the election.
Fucking.
Because we got a 50% chance of being right.
Long shot. I don't know how Jeb Bush took the whole country, but
I can't believe he came from behind.
Ooh.
All right.
Jill Stein is his VP.
Oh, man. Her fucking vice president.
RFK, King of the Worms.
Yeah. Like RFK's brainworm won president. And the Bears is vice president. All right. I hope you get Freako, but why?